we started Maven, right? And we discussed about uh, Maven. Maven is a build automation tool, right? It's a build automation tool, which is basically converts your Java source code. It is mainly for Java, but it supports some other languages also, but mainly for Java. It supports, it takes your Java source code, which should be in a proper structure. Like we have seen, there is a SRC. Let me open that one. SRC under that main, and then Java. Then under that your package name like com.kmitcourses courses I had given, then com, and then KMIT courses. So we have selected one archetypes, right? So that archetype is nothing but a template to uh, follow that Maven's structure, directory structure, and also this is relevant to what type of project you are creating. So we have selected Hello World. So it does not have much things here, but today we will see that how to create something which is called the uh, Spring Framework project. Okay, so that also we will see. So we'll do one thing. We will go to our Visual Studio Code, the one which we have opened yesterday, that we have created one project. So if I go to the recent, and this is the one. Right. So we were talking about there is a pom.xml file. So this pom.xml file is very important, right? So I'll let it open. Right. So this pom.xml file is very important because this is the file which maintains your project configuration. Okay? It maintains your project configuration, right? So, right. So here we have seen that, right. So here we have seen that it is having two main things. It is having two main things. One is dependencies, and second, it is having the plugins. So dependencies, Maven is having its repository, which is the Maven repository, which is available on the cloud. So what you can do, you can download these dependencies, just go to your dependency and add that dependency code. So in the dependency code you will find GAB, group ID, artifact ID, and the version. And once you add it, then those dependencies, those jar files will be added into your code. Okay, you can utilize it like we have seen yesterday. The Selenium, which is the one of the uh, dependency which we have added yesterday. All right. Now today we will talk about Maven goals. Okay. So now here you can see that we are having this application, right, which is which returns hello world.java. Now in Maven there is a life cycle. So first, excuse me. So first, what it does, validate. Validate means it validate that your code is in a proper structured format or not. Means it will have the SRC, directory under that, your Java directory under that, your package names directories, and your code is properly into uh, that particular directories or not. So it validates. If that validation is failed, you cannot proceed to compile or test your code. So second is resources. So in our case, resources folder is not there, but resources is something related to your project. For example, you want to connect to a database and you want to define the DB connection string, right? So you want to define the DB connection string. So if you want to define the DB connection string, what you need to do, you need to define under that connection string in the resources. You create a file called application properties file, right? So in that file you can define. So pom.xml is different. It is for the project settings like GAV, but the resources having specific to your application. Okay. Within the application, you want to define some variables. You want to use the connection strings, database connection string. You want to put some parameters, right? So those things you can define under the resources. So after that, resources phase get executed. Now, third one is compile. So what is compile? Compile will compile your code. So in Java, whenever you are writing the code, it converts a Java source code into a bytecode. And those bytecodes are available under Java classes. Not the classes, but classes files get created. Now, I don't want to go in so deep of Java programming, but bytecode is something, a code which you can take and you can run it on any operating system. For example, you want to run it on Linux, Windows, or Mac operating system. So this bytecode we can give it to them and we can say, okay, you can execute this. Okay, so compilations. So there is something called MVN compile command. So what this compile command will do, it will compile your code, and there is a plugin in pom.xml. So if I go to pom.xml, and here you can see there is a Maven compiler plugin. So this is basically going to compile your code. Okay, so this is going to compile your code. So Maven compile. Okay, if this plugin is not configured, you will not be able to compile your code. Now what I want to do, I want to compile my code. So when you compile, a bytecode get created and it is created under a target folder. So compile command will create a target folder. Under target folder, you will have your bytecode in the form of classes. So before creating the jar file, bytecode get created. Okay. So let us see whether how it will be created. Now I'm in the same directory, right? So I can say, let me clear the history. Now what I will say, MVN and compile. Okay. So when you run this MVN compile command, so there is an error. The error is, hang on. So see error. The goal means the command specified requires a project to execute. There is no pom.xml file. It means I'm in a wrong folder, right? If I say ls here, so you can see I'm in a wrong folder. I should be in the basic ambient project folder, right? So where our pom.xml file is there. So I will say basic ambient project. Now if I say ls, so there is a pom.xml file is here. Okay, there is a target directory, but this target directory is empty. If I say target, okay, there is something. So there is a command which is called mvn clean command. Okay, mvn clean command will clean the repos means target directory. Now if I say ls, see target directory is deleted. mvn clean command, right? So what I want to do, I want to execute mvn compile command. So I will say mvn and compile. When you run this command, it will create a target directory, and under target directory, you will have your compiled code. You should get build success. Now here, if I go on little on the top, so you can see when I execute it, it is scanning my project and it is building the project basic MVN project 1.0 snapshot from pom.xml. Now, so it is saying I'm skipping because resource directory does not exist. See, in the Maven, basically what happens, these are the sequential steps. Means first validate will happen, then resources will be created, and then it will be, uh, then resources will be compiled, then, compiled in the sense it will check, means variable, the structure, what are the files you are having under resources directory. So it checks all these syntax and other things. If everything is fine, so here it is saying because we don't have the resource directory. So if I go here, so you don't see the resource directory. So that is why it is saying I'm skipping this resource directory, right? So we will create the resource, not now, but later we will see, right? Skipping the resource directory because skipping non-existing resource directory, right? So under main, it is expecting resources directory, which we don't have. Now, after that, compiler 3.13. See, if I go here, this is the compiler 3.13 compile. So this is the version of the compiler. Okay, so this is executing, recompiling the module because of change of source code, because we are executing first time. See, whenever you are executing your code, so if compilation process starts, it will compile the code, right? So we will discuss in some cases compilation is skipped. We will see those cases also, but at this moment it has compiled the code. Now, after that, what it has done, it has created these target classes where our bytecode is there. Okay. So it has created target classes where my bytecode is there. This is what it is supposed to do with the compile command. It has to create one bytecode, and bytecode is created by executing this compilation. Okay. So, right. So this is done. Now,
I
we
have
will
one
verify.
question.
Yeah.
So when we are writing the Java code for the
Again, your
first time,
voice is very low.
just a minute, just a minute.
1 second. Let me see if I can do. No, I think my proper. So not able to hear you properly. Are you using any headphone?
Yes, sir. I'm using my headphone.
Maybe you need to remove and check.
Okay, just a minute. Sir, am I audible now?
You are audible, but your voice is very low. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sir. So I'm saying when we are writing the Java code for the first time, we are compiling that over there also. Okay, and here when we are creating, running the Maven file, we are building the file from that Java code. We are again trying to create a compile file again here.
No. When we write our source code, at that time we don't compile. Writing only. For compilation, we need to use mvn compile command only.
Okay.
So when you run so Maven is having a structure. So it will be expecting when you run the mvn compile command. So there will be a target directory. Under that target directory, there will be classes folder, which is containing your bytecode.
Got it.
So this is a you can say expected result when I run this compile, and you can see here now under target there is a classes. Under classes, com.kmitcourses, and under that you can see app.class is created. This is my bytecode. There are some more folders get created, but this is the one which is uh, you know which is having my bytecode. So there are some supporting directories are there, so that also get created.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yep.
Okay. Now, so this is the compilation. I have also mentioned you there is a mvn clean command. Okay, mvn clean. For example, if I run mvn compile command again, so it will not compile again because there is no change. So if I run mvn compile again, see, nothing to compile because all the classes are up to date. But if I make a change, for example, instead of hello world, if I say hello India and save it, and if I compile now, mvn compile, so what it will do, it will compile again. What I will do, I will, before compiling this, I will create one directory under the target, my own directory or file I will create, kmit dot class file. Okay, I just added one, this one. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the mvn compile command. Now there is a change in the code. So what it will do, it will be, oh, I did not save, looks like. Let me save this, right? And I will say mvn hello, I'll say Faridabad. Okay. So I'll say hello Faridabad. So mvn compile. Now see, it has executed again, and a new uh, it is recompiling the module because of the change in the source code. But I want to see that KMIT class file which I have created, or it could be any file, is it still there? Because I don't want that file because I have recompiled. But you see that file is still there. So it means whenever I'm compiling, what it is doing, if there is some extra files into the target folder, so it is not doing anything with that. It is not deleting those files or modifying those files. It is just ignoring those files. But I don't want this because target folder is not created by me. Target folder is automatically get created when I compile my code. So in that case, what you need to do, this is a good idea. This is a good practice. You can run mvn, first clean, and then compile. So what it will do, this is Maven goal, right? Whatever Maven command you are executing, that is called Maven goal. So if I say mvn clean compile, so it will first delete the target directory, and then it is going to compile the code. Now let us run this command. Okay. So see, I did not make any change, but it has compiled again. It compiled again. Why it has compiled again? because target directory was deleted. So when I was, if I run mvn compile command, so first of all, let us see what is the change. So here now you can see under target directory that KMIT class is deleted because it with the clean command, it has deleted the target directory and then created the target directory from the beginning. Now, if I run the mvn compile command again, so what it will do, it will compile your code, right? Now it is saying nothing to compile because it is up to date. But if I say mvn clean compile, now tell me what it will do, whether it will compile it again or not.
And first, it will clean and then compile again.
Yeah. So will it compile it again?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. So it will, because when I'm running the mvn compile, it is checking the target directory under that class. It compares whether it is mapped with the current source code. If it is not, then it it ignores that. If it is matching, then it ignores. If not, then it is compiling. But if I say mvn clean compile, so because it is deleting the target directory, so it has to compile it again, right? So here you can see now it is compiling the code. Java C is the compiler actually. So in the background, it is running Java C only. Right. So this is our compile. Now fourth step is test, and this test is the for unit testing. So now tell me, if I run the test command, will it compile it first or not?
No, it will not compile first.
It will. It will compile because, you know, if you are running compile, it will check the validate resources, then compile. If you run
Hmm.
test, it will validate resource and then compile. We can execute a particular step also. That also we will see how we can execute it. But you know, if you run mvn test command, so what it will do, it will do a unit testing. So uh, what is unit testing?
So we can skip any command also in between. Like suppose
We,
we don't want to compile, we directly want to run, do the testing, unit testing.
we
So we
can
can
do,
say
we
MVN.
can do, we
Okay.
can do, but by default it does not happen like that. But how to execute a specific phase, that also we can do. I will show you that command.
Oh.
Now, here you can see that okay. So under source, there is one more directory which is called the test directory. Under test directory, there is a com, Java com, KMIT courses, and then we are having this app test.java. So this is my unit test file. This is what? This is my uh, Jupyter, I think Jupyter or JUnit, JUnit, oh, Jupyter, right? So this is basically my uh, this is my test cases. Now let us see what is written there. So right. So now there is one test case. If any in Jupyter, if you write anything and on the top you decorate it with the annotation at test, so this will become the unit test case. Okay. Now consider that you want to do a unit testing. So this is a dummy unit test case, but in real time, you will have the specific unit test case, right? Which is basically some meaningful. This is not meaningful. This test case is only one unit test case we are having, and this test case is simply returning assert true and condition is true. So it means it will always return pass result. Okay, so it will not fail the result, but in real time you will write the actual. Okay, so what I will do now, uh, I will go here and I will run the ambient test command. So what it will do, it will execute this code and it will check whether the result is yeah. So here you can see that result test. So it is saying I am running a test which is uh, under app test class, right? And if you see here under app test class, it has mentioned that I have executed one test which is executed successfully. No failure, no error, zero skipped, etc. Right now, so one second. Now what it has done. So see, first it has compiled the code. There is nothing to compile. Then it has created uh, it has executed this test command, right? Now let us see what it has done. So it will create one file. So here you can see source test resources. There is no resource. Under testing also it is checking for the resources. So you just need to observe this, these logs which get created, compiling the source code. And here you can see there is something which is called surefire reports. So if I go to pom.xml and here you can see there is a plugin which is the surefire plugin, and this is used for creating surefire report. Now what is surefire report? See, for example, when your test get executed, you want to do some automation on top of that. You want to say if the test is failed, right? If the test is all the test cases are passed, I want to see that report. So in that case, what it is doing, so see what it is saying, using auto detected provider, JUnit, it has already checked that there is a JUnit provider, which we have added in the dependencies. Now, after that, it has executed the test. After that, it has executed the test and test is passed, right? Now, if I go to my target directory, this is target directory. Now you can see there is a surefire reports. This folder was not there earlier when we have executed the compile command. This folder get created when you run the test command. So now there are two types of files. One is com.kmitcourses.App test, which is my unit test class file .txt. Let us see what is inside this. So here you can see the same result which we have seen here. Test run, zero failure, zero error, zero skipped, etc. So same thing is here, right? So So this is the right. So this is the one, right, which contains that your test is whatever the result comes, it will be stored into this particular file. Let us see, there is one more file, which is the XML file. So it is nothing, but it is just giving you the properties of that code, whatever the properties it has used. And here you can see that there will be compiler, Java runtime, whatever it has used. So it will be in this file. And here it is giving the test case name also. So for example, here my test case name was should answer with true under this particular class name. So if you see here, app test, right, should answer with true, and so this test case get executed. So those details are into that XML file. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. So I did same thing when I was doing the Selenium automation. So we're using TestNG and PyTest for that same thing.
Yeah, test engine. Yes, exactly. So similar to that, yes.
Yes.
Now let us see one more thing, that what we will do. We will create one more test case, and I will name it as should answer with false. So I will deliberately, making it false. Now I will execute this mvn clean test mvn. So first it will delete the target directory, and then it will run the test command. Now there will be one failure, right? Because I have mentioned false. So false means it will return false result. So here you can see the error is also same way. You can see that report is created, test report is created, and here you will see two tests get executed, one failure, right? So now we can see in our that just one second. Yeah. So now what it has done, if you see here my target directory, right? Under target directory, there is a surefire report. And if I open this, so you can see, let me, there are two test cases, same, whatever you have seen it here. So same thing is into this particular file. Okay, so surefire report is useful, right? Whenever you are doing any testing, unit testing, so it will give you the appropriate result. All right. So now, so test. Now let us talk about fifth case or fifth phase, which is package. Now one more thing. For example, your compilation is failed, then test will also not execute. It will not reach to that step. Say an example. First, what I will do, I will go to my test and I will remove this. Now I will make everything successful. I just reverted back those changes. In app.java, I will just some error. Okay, some error. I'm just deliberately giving some error. Now I want to do mvn clean test. So it will not reach to the test because compilation is failed. Right now here, if I go to the target directory, so you will not see the surefire report. Okay? So that directory is not there because that command itself is not executed, even though test is, in our case, mvn test is passed, but it is not reached to that level. So that is the another thing um, which we basically need to consider. So what I'll do, I will remove this. Now, next is the package. Now, package is basically creating your package, means your executable file, jar file, var file. Right? So those things, if you want to create, then you need to use the package command. But again, if there is an error in the compile or test, this will not create the package. So let us see how we can do. So now it will create a executable file. See what it will do. It will create the executable file, and the executable file will be your project name. For example, my project name is uh, this is basic Maven project. Okay, basic Maven project dot my version name and dot jar, not dot, actually I think it's underscore. We'll see. There is an um, there is a, you know, specific naming convention. So we will see that how we can create this. Let me just remove all this. Right. So here I will run the command mvn and clean and package. So now it will compile, test, and then create the jar file. So here, if you see under target directory only, that jar file will be created. So if you see here under target directory, so there is a jar file hyphen, not dot, hyphen 1.0. This is our version name which we have given, 1.0 snapshot dot jar file get created. Now this jar file is my executable file. Let us check. So if I run a command, java command, java hyphen cp class path under um, target directory, right? So my project name was basic maven dot jar file. So I want to execute this jar file. Under that, I have a class called app class. Okay. And my namespace is com.kmitcourses. So I will say com.kmitcourses. This is my namespace. Under that, there is a class name which is app class. Right. So now you can see it has given me the result, which is hello Faridabad. Right. So, right. So this way we can create our jar file, right? That is our main motive, that our source code should be compiled and give us the executable file. And now we are able to receive that executable file. Again, if you are having any, error in the testing, or if you are having any error in the compilation, this jar file will not be created. Command will be the same to create the var file also, but uh, because we are creating the packaging as a jar file, and the compiler is also jar file compiler, right? So in that case, it will create the jar file only. Any question up till now?
No, sir. Clear.
Clear? Good. Right. Now let us um, let us see that result in case if I uh, right, right. So in case if if I'm having any problem, for example, under app_test.java, I will make it false. Okay, so if there is an error in the right, if there is an error which is false, right? So what it will do? It will not create the jar file. So in that case, if you tell me one thing, if I run this command, mvn and package, what will happen? I have problem in my test case.
Will not create.
It will not create the jar file. Let's see. Right. So it get failed itself here. Right. So there is a failure, and it has not initiated the jar file, but I still have the jar file, which is the old one. Right.
Hmm.
So if I make a change, for example, if I make a change that I love Faridabad, right? If I save this, and now if you are going to run command, which is this one, you are having some problem in the test case, so it will not create the new file, new package file, because uh, now here if I say, so it is hello Faridabad only, right? So it is not having I love Faridabad. So in that case, basically what it has done, it has not deleted that file. Why it has not deleted? Because I did not run mvn clean package command.
Which command?
So if I run mvn clean package, so it will delete the target directory first, and it will it will create the, now before creating the jar file, the target directory got deleted, and that is
Hmm.
why now it will not have any jar file. So it means if I run a command again, this one error, right? Because that jar file is not there. If you see here under the target directory, there is no jar file. I
So,
hope these
sir,
things are clear to you, right?
yeah. So the command which we used earlier, then that is more beneficial than this one, than clean command, because in our like production environment, we are trying to create multiple jar files, and if there is any issue in any unit test cases, so it's better to have the previous old jar file.
Oh, that depends actually. The reason
Okay.
is because we don't keep our jar file here. We put it into the Artifactory.
Oh,
Okay, that most probably we will see tomorrow, Artifactory. So in that case, basically what happens that if you are having an Artifactory, so you keep your jar file over there, and here this is your latest executable code. So
oh,
best command in that case, mvn clean package, because your jar file is already on the Artifactory, and here you are trying to um, what you are trying to do, you are just trying to create a new jar file. but it is not created. And if you know, if you have not realized that there is an error, and if you give the same jar file to Artifactory, so which is not good. So it totally depends that what use cases you are using. So
So sir, in Artifactory, we are maintaining the versioning for the previous jar, all the jar files, right?
all the jar files, yes.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah, good. Right. Now, next is that, right. So next is that install. Sixth is the install. So what is install? Now we are having jar file. So earlier what we have done, if we want a dependency, like we have the dependency for Maven, right? Or which are basically related to Selenium or JUnit. So we went to the Maven repository and we have downloaded those dependencies from there to our local system. Now consider that you are having a local repository and you have created one library using Maven, and under that local repository you want to keep it. For example, this is my code. I want that this jar file which is created, that should be stored into my local repository so that if I use it into my other project, okay, if I use it into my other project, then I can refer to this. So this can be done with the mvn install command. So what mvn install command will be doing, it is creating one local repository where it will keep the, which is .m2 directory. Under that M2 directory, it will put your jar file into the repository so that in your code, in your some other project, if you want any class, so here we have created a very simple code, right? But in real time, those developers, they are writing very complicated code, so many classes, so many methods, constructor, and n number of things. So those things are basically, uh, if you are using that one, then it is better to reuse it. To reuse it, that we create a we create a jar file and put that jar file into our local repository only. So let us see how we can do that. Right. So here, so when you run the install command, package command will be automatically get executed. So I'll say ambient clean and install. Compiling, testing. Oh, there is an error. Or test case we need to make it true. Okay, it is successful. My jar file is created. See, I love Faridabad. And now if you see here, what it is saying, installing master this our pom.xml to .m2 repository com.kmitcourses courses basic this. So it is creating one pom file, plus it is copying the jar file to my user folder .m2 repository com, and under that these jar file. Let us see. So if I say C users and under that Raman and under that .m2, under that repository, under that my package name which is com KMIT courses, and then my project which is this one, snapshot, and you see that there is a jar file. This is pom.xml and this is jar file. Now if something on my local system I want to use this, so what I will do, I can use this as it is, right? This is my XML. So you can see it is a local copy, and this is the group ID, artifact ID, right? So this file get created, and this is the jar file. This is pom.xml file. Let me go to my notes.
And so you can share this POM file and the jar file directly with others also, right?
Yeah, so in the dependency, I just need to add this group ID, artifact ID, and then I can use it. So in the dependency, it is looking first into the local repository. If it is there, then it will not go to the Maven repository. Right. Let me clear this. Right. Lifecycle phases. Goal is the action performed by the plugin. Lifecycle phase, goal, and plugin. So how basically it works? First is the lifecycle, then phases like compile, test, okay, and then goal. What goal you want, which command you want to execute, and then plugins. So there are three types of Maven cycles. One is default, which is build, deploy, package, right? All there is one more command is left, which is deploy. So this is the one which I have explained, validate, then compile. In validate and compile, there is resources also, then test, right? And compile and whenever you are running the test command, so it is checking the test resources also. Then package, verify. Verify is nothing but package is created. Then install and then deploy. Running the later phase automatically runs all the earlier phases. So these are the commands. You have already, okay. Now you want to create a documentation for your project. So that you can do with the help of the ambient site command. How? Now you can see that under target, we are having these folders. There is no site folder. So what I will do now, I will run MVN site. So this is a separate phase. It is not, it will run the compile, test, install. No, it is a separate life cycle. So now it is basically used for the documentation point of view. Automatically a documentation will be created. Right. So here now you can see generating the about report, plug management report, plugins report. Okay, everything is successful. Now if I go here, right, so you will find one folder which is called the site folder. So instead of opening it here, let me open this into the actual folder. So C, under C it is training. So there is a site directory. Now here you can see there are many HTML files are created. Let me open the index.html. See, this is the documentation. What dependencies you are using. It will show all the dependency like Selenium we have added, Jupyter we have added, right? And there are some dependencies which are already there. Means in the Maven dependencies folder, it will show those dependencies. So this is my jar file, right? This is my jar file. So this is the dependency tree when I compiled my code, when I executed my code. So this is the uh, dependency tree. Right? So this is a complete documentation which will give you the brief about like for example, if there is a jar file which is included into my project, so it will tell you that what is the size, right? And these are the columns. What is the how many entries are there, how many classes are there, how many packages are there, which Java version they are compiled, and debug information. So you now see with the help of this you can generate. You can also want if you want to find out say plugin management, you want to see the plugins. So these all this information is under this site. Right. Plugins I have already mentioned to you. If you want to execute compiler, one way is that MVN compile, but internally there is a compiler plugin which get executed, which is in the pom.xml. So if I say MVN compiler compile, so it is doing the same work which we have done with the MVN compile command. Okay. But this is more specifically you are saying, okay, clean, right? Surefire test. So these are the plugins, compiler, surefire, jar, MVN package, and deploy. Now if you want to execute something like this MVN package, so what it will do, it will first execute all the phases which are before this. And if you want to execute directly, okay, you don't want to uh, execute the previous phases, then what you can do, you can execute directly this one. For example, I want to execute surefire test only. So in this case, if you are using this, it will not execute the previous phases. Let me run that. Let me run the mvn clean command first. Mvn clean. So it will delete the target directory. Now I'm saying mvn that surefire test. See, it is executed. It did not. So I have executed the test command, right? So this one only. Because I don't have the compiled code, that is why it is saying nothing to test. Okay, because testing is expecting the compilation first. So now what I will do, I will run the command mvn compiler compile. Now let me run this surefire test. Now this time it is executed because it has the compiled code. Now when let me run mvn clean again. Now if I run mvn compiler compile, so here it is not checking validating and resources. Now I want to skip my test and I want to execute my jar file. So we need to run this mvn jar colon jar. So jar is the plugin, mvn jar colon jar. So now in this case, I don't want to. So jar file is created. Uh, let me clean this one more time, and I will make a error into my unit test case. I will say false. Right now, in this case, unit test case is failed, but I want to skip this. I want to skip the testing phase. So then what I will do, I will simply say here first compile. You can run the mvn compile also. Now I don't want to run the test. I want to run the jar file directly. So see, it did not fail at this time because test is not executed, right? So test did not execute. It directly executed the jar file. So now if I go to my target directory, so you can see there is a jar file.
But this jar file, sir, is of no use, no, because it is a wrong, having the wrong code in it.
Yeah, means this is not recommended, but sometimes what happens, for example, there are some unit test cases which get failed, which can be ignored.
Okay.
So in that case, what you can do, you can directly run this plugin command. But best way is that go in the phase wise.
Hmm.
And so previous phases should be executed. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. So there are some options you can use with the with this. Like for example, this is bash mode. Bash mode is basically when you are putting this into our CI/CD pipeline. So we just say bash mode, no manual intervention. For example, one way I have shown you how you can skip the uh, test cases. But here, when I'm running this MVN jar, it is only executing the package command. It is expecting compile code is there. But now consider MVN clean command if I execute. And if I don't run the, if I run this one, right? So now if I go to my target directory, right? So it has created the jar file. But this is not a best practice as because it is yeah it um, see this is created but this you cannot trust. Let us run the that Java command. Let us see whether it is having a correct jar file. See error because compiled code is not there. So I want to run my compile command but I don't want to run my test. I want to skip my test. So in this case, let me run the mvn clean command. And now I will run this clean -d skip test. So it will skip the test. See, compilation is now happened, but test is skipped. So test is skipped. I'll show you. So here we have written the false. So it should be failed, right? So because it is skipped, then my jar file is created. Now my jar file should be correct one. See, I love Faridabad. Even though there is an error in the unit test case. If you want more information in the debug mode is nothing but it is, for example, if you are running this, it will give you some more information. See, debug information is there, how it is executed. So if something break down, so you just check that information. So step by step, it is.
What is this command about batch mode?
Batch mode is basically we mostly use in the CI/CD pipeline. So in CI/CD pipeline, uh, what do you want? By default, it is batch only, means it will not ask any manual, it will not ask for anything which is manual. So it will be automatic, everything. And similar way, there are so many options. Offline package means you don't want to connect to the internet while creating your package, no download. So those things you can do. Like batch mode, you can run in CI/CD, mvn -p clean pack test package. So it will test and then package. Deploy we need to discuss. That we will discuss when we connect to our Artifactory. Do you understand this? All these
Yes, sir.
commands?
Yeah,
So
mostly
deploy
clear.
is left. Deploy we will discuss maybe tomorrow because for that we need the Artifactory.
Okay.
All right. So almost we have done with the Maven. So we will see tomorrow. We will set up one JFrog uh, Artifactory and we will push our Maven file into that Artifactory. All right. So I think in that case, that's it. Do you have any question?
No, sir.
All right, then we will meet tomorrow.
Sure. Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.